AVC, Steve here, FlipSideCT. So this video, I wanted to do one quick thing, which is the vinyl tag video. Just talking about those 20 questions. I tried doing this already, and it wound up going over 20 minutes. It's just inevitable. So I'm going to just try this again and cut a few things out that it's just sort of fluffy, and some I won't even answer questions. But let me jump in here. Two quick vinyl finds. In my under the radar, somebody showed, and I forgot who it is, and I respected what they told me, and I went out and bought Charlie Pickett, Route 33. He's from the 80s, play until today, bar band, rock and roll, Stones-ish, a band you should check out. I really dig this. This is an album you crank up, and you really get some good rock and roll from this. Charlie Pickett, Route 33. Just give it a listen, please. And the other thing was, a lot of folks have been telling me, because I've been listening Slow Dive, to get Slovaki, whatever one, this is the first or third, I don't remember. But I got this. This is just fabulous, that dream pop sound. So those are my two vinyl finds. But just to jump into this this tag here, great idea, of course. Gives you an insight to me a little more in whatever channel you watched it on. You know, it's questions I don't usually, it's questions I don't usually just come out and just say about myself unless someone asks. So here's an opportunity just to get a little more familiar with me. If you don't know, some people know me already. So I'm just going to go quickly here. This is freaking longer than I thought. Good God. First video I ever saw, there was Ryan Rock's Ben. There was a Billie Jean Gunn, some woman from Colorado, doesn't do videos now. Derek Higgins, of course, that a lot of people talk about. And Friday Night Videos, I forgot I don't see him around. He had a beard, very intuitive, very good information, very knowledgeable of a lot of music that I like. But the first video I actually saw was that how to clean a vinyl record with wood glue. Say no more. Favorite record I found, Ryan Adams, the Turn On from the VC is what got me here. I bought a lot of his records and his other band's records. The sound I like. I don't want to sit here and sell it. Some of you love it, some of people hate it. It's right up my alley in cool rock and roll. So there you go. Hobbies. I got a shitload of hobbies. I'll put it out there. I just love learning. I love doing. And there's so many things out there that I just enjoy doing. Photography since I was 15 years old, playing guitar, flea markets, antiques, New York City, traveling all over I can. I have a real passion for the combination of space, the creation of the Earth, 4.5 billion years old, the migration, the journey of man, how man traveled to be where we are now. That's fascinating to me. I love learning about it. If you look it up, you'll learn so much and get a really good understanding. The migration of the continents, geology, how Grand Canyon was formed, the oceans that were there and not there, how does Sahara Desert get formed, all that type of intriguing questions. That is a passion of mine. I love talking about it and love learning. That's a hobby. Books, as you know, sports. I love sports, watching it, playing it. Of course, now at 57, that stopped. I was playing basketball since I was 15 years old. I'm 6'2", so I enjoyed playing basketball. Not that that's tall. It's kind of short for basketball. A hobby of mine was acting. I did do some off Broadway. I did study in Manhattan. I did soap operas. I was on a soap opera a couple times. Nothing major. please, nothing major. It's just fun. I loved acting. I still do. I love how the studying of it. Movies, watching movies. I could figure out a movie if I'm into it in 1 minute in. Killed my brother when he would hear me say, let's turn this off. 1 minute in, and I'm telling him, turn this off. And I could just tell we're going to be bored as all hell. Anyway, moving on. List of hobbies. I started collecting because back in the 70s, you know, there was a lot of gangs, and music represented your gangs. And then collecting records from there. That's how it snowballed. I was a DJ in college radio, 80, 81, 82, 83. So got a big exposure. Everybody wanted to have the hippest and best, coolest collection. So started collecting a lot, going to Manhattan and going to New Jersey stores. I play guitar, been doing it for 15, taught myself. Was in small little bands, but my biggest thing was as I got older, we would get people together and just jam. We'd rent out rehearsals, studio space, bring people over, people plug in, and we would just party. We would just have fun and just enjoy ourselves. We used to record. I can't find tapes. I have one tape of me, which I really treasure. It was improvised jam. We were just, man, we were floating. And if I could somehow one day play it for you, it's sort of combination guitars. It was two guitars, my buddy and I. We play Stones, Lou, Bowie, Dylan, all that type of Clash. But I love the improvised of a style like Psychedelic Furs, Susie and the Banshees, Echo and the Bunnymen, Joy Division. That type of guitar just is what I loved doing. Anyway, I got on the soapbox. I got to tell you, I love it. Yes, I worked in a record store during college. It was a liquor store / record store, small store, few bins. I'm the one that did the ordering. That's how I got a lot of records at good prices too from the warehouse. It was just fantastic. So that was, yeah, during when I was a DJ too. So that worked out. Favorite album the year I was born was West Side Story 1961. I just love it. I love the song, I love the music, and I love the storyline. Nothing more to say more about West Side Story. It's just so well done. Classic albums I never heard. Well, with the Beatles. I don't really, you know, hey, dislike me, whatever, don't listen to me anymore. I just don't care for that early Beatles. I listen to some single songs, but that poppy tone wasn't just for me. You know, maybe if I grew up at that time, I'd be into it, probably. Or maybe not. Maybe I would be into the blues more. I don't know. But hey, that's what it is. Guilty pleasure, Saturday Night Fever. I think the Bee Gees did a great job in that album. Just their songs. But that's my guilty pleasure. 77, when I went to see it as a gang movie, and disco wasn't hitting its peak. But those of you who remember the disco, what happened? The rock and rollers just split up. Disco went one way, and then we had to deal with that shit. And that made rock and roll more tougher. People were really more into rock and roll because you had to beat the disco crowds. And oh my gosh, Blue. Strangest record, I don't own it anymore, but Scarfish. Anybody could look at this album knows it's strange. He's strange, very, very artsy. I'm not saying he's wrong, he's bad, he's not good. He's just different and strange. He's still going today. Scarfish. Very, very interesting. Give him a listen and just, man, it's cool that he's still out there. Picture disc is a Stones disc right here. Just the Sticky Fingers, Brown Sugar, Bitch single. Best posthumous release, I'm not even going there. Impulsive buy, I'm not even going there. Every record is impulsive. Best blind buy, Glam Punk, the English version of New York Dolls, Hollywood Brats. If you like the Dolls, get this, listen to this. This is just phenomenal. I got the book here, Sick on You. by Matheson, the lead singer. This Casino Steel, the guitarist wound up going to the English band The Boys, and something else, but this is a great blind buy that I did, recommended by somebody. He says, give him a shot, I know you're gonna like them. It's phenomenal. A blind spot artist, I don't know. Favorite album cover, I'm just gonna say this because I said it before. Back in the day, this was cool, and I think it still is. I love color, and I just think this was really pretty state-of-the-art, especially back then. Musicians I met. Okay, so I'll mention 3 of them. So the first one is Liberace. Just a quick interaction. I was on the street after a concert, and he was decked out. It's just typical decked out. Just brief conversation, but I could just say I met Liberace, which was pretty cool. I don't know how many people have said that. The other one is John Entwistle. My friend and I would frequent the Limelight in the 80s. Those of you the age know the Limelight. You remember how cool it was to go there. It was the place to hang out, along with the Dance Interior and Tramps and Peppermint Lounge, and gosh, there were so many. So Limelight was a renovated church, and it was dark and gothic looking, and the music was great. I saw Alan Vega there. I saw, oh gosh, so many bands there. And they had a private room in this little room up top. So we would get to be able to, we knew the guy in the front, and he would give us tickets. We'd go upstairs. Saw so many people. But when we walked in, we saw the Spider staring right at us. And we both looked at each other, my friend Tom and I, and we were just in Gaga land. Entwistle, standing there, sitting there, watching, looking at the TV, laughing at some girls shaking around and commenting. He's like hitting us, look. 20 minutes, I don't know, we bullshitted with him for a while. We didn't talk to Who, didn't talk bass playing, didn't talk anything. We just bullshitted, whatever. Just I don't know, guy talk. But he was funny. He was a funny guy, you know. Anyway, the last guy who I met was, if you ever gone to these shows where a bunch of artists, not A-list, but B-list artists, maybe Beach Boys, Raspberries, Vanilla Fudge, you know, the Rascals, or you know, Peter Tork might be there. You get one of these little conventions, and a friend of mine, you know, ran one, and I went to it, and in the back room was little Carlos Alomar. Nobody with him, and I was just blown out. I filmed it. Can't find the film, folks. I am sorry. I am so annoyed. I never showed it, and you know, this was maybe about 4 years ago. I don't know. Anyway, we just bullshit theory, music, guitar, open tunings. He was a teacher, professor at Brooklyn College. So didn't talk Bowie. Sweetest, nicest man you could ever meet. I could meet Bowie. I could see why he was gravitated to him. He was such a great guy. Of course, there was a guitar there, and he was playing some funk for me, and it was just like a real memorable moment. So I'm really proud to say those 3 guys. I think it's pretty unusual, 3, if you ask me. Sentimental album cover. I've talked about this before. Yes, beautiful cover. I love this color too, this Dean picture. When I got this, this I think is my no, this I don't think is my original. When I bought this in '75, I loved it so much. I had my mom sit down and listen to the entire thing with me. She was patient enough. She was that type of person, and this is why it's sentimental to me. She passed in 2013. Okay. And favorite album genre that no one knows about. I'm not going to go there. But my last thing is an album I don't think anyone has or knows about. My friend Ira, I grew up, I've known since 4th grade. He and I were just always musically intense. He's the guy who, and his brother, we were just engaging. It was just a great thing to have growing up. Somebody who's just with you on your wavelength musically. So Ira wound up, long story short, becoming an engineer in Manhattan. He actually went to Delaware for engineering, dropped out, and just went here and learned and swept the floors and got himself to be an engineer at his recording studio. Wasn't the Class A. He wasn't, the record plant, wasn't Hit Factory or whatever. He was smaller mom and pop type studio, but some really, really cool artists. He actually did Howard Stern's album. I remember him telling me he's an engineer on there, Ira, and just so many other bands. There's so many stories. He would call me in the middle of the night, Steve, I got to get out of the city, because he's from my hometown, 25 miles out of Manhattan. He would call me 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and just say, pick me up at the train station, please. I got to get out. This would happen frequently. He would stay with me for 3 days, and then I'd take him back in. I would go hang out and sleep with him in the studios. So I got a lot of knowledge and insight to the environment. Here's a cool story. We were jamming. I talked about how we would jam. We would jam in one of his studios, and sometimes it would just be three of us. We would just do guitars and drums. He played drums. My friend played guitar. So we're playing. All of a sudden, the phone rings, and my friend Ira goes, hello. What? And he asked my friend Tom, what year is that Fender? And he would say, 81 or something. It was in the 80s. And his friend said, we need an 80s Fender Strat. So, and he goes, okay, we do have one. Why? Well, Keith Richards needs one. So this is during Dirty Work. So the fan in us just kicked in, and we were like, oh my God, holy shit. And it was around the corner, and we said, look, we knew that Keith is famous for taking some guitars and keeping them. I don't know how true the story is, but we said, look, he can use it, of course, but we would just like to give it to him. So my friend Ira talks to his buddy and says, blah, 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 blah. And he holds on a minute, and all of a sudden Ira says, okay, I shouldn't have done that. Of course, Keith said, no fucking way. So that's funny. I just had to share that because now you can understand a little bit. So he produced a record from Neon Leon. I don't even think this has a name. Oh, Artificial Stimulation. Leon was from Atlantic City, and he grew up and went to Manhattan in the early 70s. So the Dolls, the CBGB period, he was there. Wasn't big with that, but he was part of the scene. I'm going to really move quickly on this. He wound up going to Sweden and being a success there. So big, with the blondes. He had blondes all over the place, and the Swedes loved him. So some Swedish folks will know Neon Leon from that time. I don't know if someone has this album. I'd be so surprised. Clem Burke is on here now that I'm looking at it. Snucky Tate. I remember all this. Atlantic City Boardwalk. So Leon has some really great connections. He knew a lot of people. He was sponsored by Jagger and Richards. A lot of Jagger. He had a single out called Rock and Roll's Alive in New York City. Some of you might remember WPLJ playing that as an ad. And the flip side was Heart of Stone, and Jagger and Richards sung on it. I had the single, I can't find it. But he just knew a lot of people. And so Ira produced this, and he even, when I went over to hear him talk, he showed me the album and played it for me. And he goes, "Oh, listen to this. I had to add a guitar track on here. I think it needed a guitar track." So it was pretty cool. Awesome album to me. Just some people, the few people I know that have it say okay, but Neon Leon, man, was that cool stuff. Oh, he lived at Chelsea Hotel in the late 70s. If you look at Sid Vicious Spongin documentaries when she died, he's interviewed all over the place because he was one of the last ones who seen them. He knew them, he hung out with them. Like I said, he was in this crowd. He knew a lot of people. And he has his theories and philosophies, and you know, honestly, I don't think she was murdered by Sid. And that's another story. So, Neon Leon, very good, folks. Thank you for listening.